Hello, everyone. A lot of people have been asking for a part 4 of the Lies story on Wattpad, so here it is. Lies, a Draco X reader, Chapter 4, Ask Draco. So what happened? Harry looked up from the ground. It was the next day, and you and Harry were standing against the wall in the corridor. It was busy with students hurrying to their class or the Great Hall. You had free period and didn't feel like rushing. With your nose, what happened? Malfoy broke it, stupid git, Harry said. You could have guessed that Draco lied to you. Not that you cared. You just hated people who lied. It was a disgusting habit. Why would you lie to someone? It was not that you didn't expect it. It was a Malfoy thing to do. Why? What did you do? You asked him. It must have had a reason. No one breaks someone's nose without a reason. Well, at least not a normal person. Draco could break someone's without a reason. He was a very angry guy, especially to Harry. They would never become friends, not even if you'd pray to God and he'd grant your wish. They were like water and fire. Not a very good combination if you want to survive in the cold. I didn't do anything, he sighed. Well, it happened after he left your compartment. There must have been a reason he left, especially when he took the cloak. You didn't know if you should start about it. You didn't know if you should start about it. You didn't want to make him feel like it was his fault. You already had a small fight with Hermione. Where did you go, you asked him, with your cloak? He sighed, clearly annoyed. Something you tried to avoid. You immediately looked at the floor. You didn't want to annoy Harry. You liked him the most of the three. He was nice. You often have fights with Hermione and Ron. I'm sorry that I asked, you sighed. It wasn't really important. I just wanted to chill with some other people. Ugh. It wasn't really important. I just wanted to chill with some other people. You didn't say anything. Even though you wanted to, Harry was probably lying as well, but you didn't say anything about it. Ron and Hermione joined you too. And who might those people be? Hermione asked, clearly thinking Harry found them more important than her and Ron. You don't know them, Harry sighed, avoiding Hermione's piercing look. It was clear that he was lying. You didn't feel like confronting him about it. He seemed to be rather annoyed every time someone brought it up, even though we didn't know these students, which was highly doubtable, seeing that everyone was all over Harry and we have seen almost every student at school. But you didn't want to be the person to tell him that what he was saying was nonsense. Come on, Harry. We know everyone at bloody Hogwarts. They're all over you, Hermione said. You were thankful Hermione said something, even though you had your fights. You two often thought alike. Great minds think alike, they say. You all looked at Harry. If he would just be honest, this would all be over. He didn't want to be, though. He was a stubborn person. What is this, an interrogation? Why can't you just let it go? You sighed and glanced across the hall. Draco caught your eye. You had a lot of classes with him this year. You hated it. He was looking at your group with his friends, clearly planning something. When Draco looked at you, he passed you a nasty smirk. It slowly became clear that you made an enemy. You tore your eyes away from the group of Slytherins. Something you had been trying to avoid all these years happened. You made an enemy, not just an enemy, Draco Malfoy, the worst of them all because you tried to ignore him. You tried to avoid it, and it happened. It was as if Draco was waiting to make you his enemy, as if he would take the first chance to make it happen. He already hated Hermione, Ron, and Harry. Why not add you? It would only make it easier. Be aware of Malfoy. He's planning on something, he said while glaring back at him. Hermione turned around, a bit too obvious, and shot her look at the blonde boy. She rolled her eyes while turning around, and she crossed her arms. What an idiot, she sighed. I can't believe he broke your nose. Back at the conversation again? Harry asked. We didn't ask you anything, did we? you asked him. Harry stepped away from the wall. The second he did that, Draco did the same. He walked over to you He walked over to you full confidence. You crossed your arms, stepped back, not willing to interfere. Harry sighed and rolled his eyes. "What do you want, Malfoy?" Harry sneered. Draco smirked and crossed his arms. You didn't know why he enjoyed this so much. You leaned against the wall and watched the group. What a mess. This wasn't necessary at all. Of course the rest thought it was. "Just came to see what you were up to. Can't be that interesting, though," Draco said. "At least I actually achieved things in my life, unlike you," Harry spat. Draco narrowed his eyes a bit. He let out a small sigh. "These usually weren't about anything. They just wanted to show each other that they were better than the other. Sometimes the fights did make sense, but not very often. You'd usually walk away. Maybe it was best if you had done that, but you couldn't just walk away now without being noticed by Draco. You didn't know why you felt like you were constantly noticed. Maybe it was because now you actually argued with him and spoke to him. You felt like he was waiting for a chance to argue with you again, like he always did to the others." "Like what, survive a Quidditch match? I did the same thing, Potter." "At least I didn't need my father to even be able to play Quidditch," Harry shot back. Draco's smirk faded, and his look changed completely. He looked a bit more angry or annoyed. "I'd shut up if I were you. Or do you want me to break your nose again?" Draco hissed. You let out a short laugh. You probably shouldn't have done that. Draco's eyes immediately shot at you. He looked at you with the same face, but the smirk slowly came back when he realized he had another chance to argue with you. You looked back at him, not showing any emotion, just a smile. "Did I say anything funny?" he asked you. "Yeah, I think it's funny. Yesterday you told me you didn't break Harry's nose. You hated that you were interfering. You had to praise him for his confidence and smirking, though." "And how is that funny?" "How is that funny?" Gregory asked you. "Well, he did break Harry's nose, so he lied to me. Not that I care that much. I think you lie all the time. I just like when I actually discover a lie." "And who might you be?" Vincent asked. You stepped away from the wall and stopped beside Harry. "Ask Draco. Apparently he knows." "How dare you call me Draco? That's Malfoy to you." You grinned and shook your head. "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sensitive about that?" You couldn't believe yourself. All you tried was to hold yourself back, but of course you had to argue with him. You could have just kept your mouth shut. Now you're already busy and you couldn't just stop now. "I wouldn't call me Draco again if I were you," Draco sneered. "Or what, you're going to get your father?" Harry grinned. "Listen, Malfoy, this is ridiculous. What are you, a 6-year-old child? Do you need Daddy to fix everything for you? Do you need to fight with someone every day? Grow up," he sighed. You walked away, leaving the groups behind. You didn't want to waste your time. It was pointless, although you also kind of enjoyed it. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry this was kind of all messed up. It's kind of a bit of two things. The author of this story has a few messed up sentences. Not all of it. Part of it is just I'm not very good at reading out loud. It'd be different if you could read my thoughts, but you cannot. I hope you enjoyed the video.